Hey there, friends. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Dan. I am a golf teacher and coach based out of New York City. And what I do is I'm trying to just post these simple, hopefully simple enough videos covering some different concepts that I think are going to help the masses. These topics are always born out of consistent things that I'm mentioning in lessons. So I give lessons in person all day long. And what I always do after these lessons is I write email reviews to them. And what this YouTube channel has really served well as, one of the many things it's helped me with, is I can just send these links to students afterwards. And now, having done that for a while, I kind of get the ideas for these videos based on topics I'm always covering and links I'd like to be sending that I don't have content on. So this is actually one I've wanted to cover for a while. It's been a couple weeks since I've been able to create a video. And we're just going to call this forward and up, right? So I'm writing my notes down all the time, very succinctly, and I just write forward and up all the time these days because I feel golfers need to be moving forward and up in their downswing, we'll say, to hit your best golf shots. And we're about to cover all of that, okay? So I like to train this in a progression. I'm a big fan of this golf coach. If you haven't heard of him, his name's Joe Mayo, the TrackMan Maestro. Let me pull these balls closer to me so you can see the balls at my feet. Not that that really matters for this video. But the TrackMan Maestro, Joe Mayo, I've learned a ton from his content online. So if you haven't seen him yet, definitely check him out. Coaches some of the best players in the world. And very, very knowledgeable about what's going on. And I've learned through his content that a lot of the best chippers and pitchers of the ball in the world are actually moving slightly forward in their backstroke with these chips and pitches. And then we can see them sort of raise up through the downswing. So in these really short shots, chips and pitches, a little forward and even the backswing, and then up, right? Forever, we've known that you want to keep more weight in your front foot through the short game shots because you want that pressure forward to push your low point forward. So if you're not familiar with low point, what we're talking here is this club's going to swing up, down to the bottom of the arc or the lowest point of the arc, and then back up again. For all our shots off the ground, we want to bottom this club out after impact. Give me a second. I'm going to talk a lot in this video. You can already feel that I need a quick sip of water. Thank you for bearing with me. So we want to bottom the club out after impact. And certainly you could just feel like you're anchored forward and stay there. It's a very simple way of handling it in the short game. But again, at a higher level, we have seen the world's best players kind of almost shift themselves a bit forward in the backstroke and then stand up. Now, the stand up is interesting. I teach on TrackMan all day long, so we get low point and attack angle numbers. And what I found surprising at first, no longer, is you can absolutely hit heavy, chunky feeling shots with the proper attack angle and low point, right? So I can bottom my club out after impact, but how I would describe it is I could still bottom out too deeply into the ground and feel that heaviness or chunkiness that's associated with that kind of mishit with the ball theoretically high on the face, right? So just because I'm bottoming the club out after impact doesn't mean that I can't or I don't have to concern myself with the level of the arc, which low point doesn't tell us. It's just sort of a lateral, a linear measurement of where that club is bottoming out in relation to the ball, okay? So when we lean forward in these chips or kind of shift the touch forward, usually it's mostly subtle, right? But we're leaning forward in the backstroke. That's going to get the low point forward. And then as we stand up, that's going to help us kind of flatten the bottom of the arc out. I have a YouTube video on my channel here earlier, or in months past, called the Tour Flat Spot, How to Stop Chunking. I talk all about that, right? But you do have to get that, especially the left side, extended up through the ball to help you clear out some space to level the bottom of the arc out. So back to today's video, forward and up. Forward in the backstroke for these chips and pitches, and then up in the through stroke. Let me go ahead and try one for us here. Forward and up. Little toey, not my best one. Let me do one more, right? Forward and up. That was my first shot of the day. Forward and up. That was much better. All right, cool. And then what I'm always telling people, you may have been able to see it there, the PGA Tour logo. I'm sending that picture to people all the time because if you study it, that golfer is tilted back, right? Their hips are pushed through and their chest is a touch back. And feeling that lower half extension, especially kind of the up we're talking about here, can be very helpful. So chips and pitches, they actually lean a little bit forward. Some of the world-class players that we kind of watch lean a little forward in the backstroke and then up in the downstroke. Now, I teach this progression in sort of three phases. You have those chips and pitches, forward and up, right? You want to get the low point forward if you're measuring it on a TrackMan, and you want to see that strike location right in the sweet spot so you know you've leveled the club to the ground the right way, forward and up. Now, if you look at a lot of the world's best kind of short range approach players, so we're going to say bigger than chips and pitches, right? North of 50 yards, but south of like probably 150. So short range approach play. And the reason I make that designation is because it's different for different golfers, obviously. But these are shots where we're going to make close to a full swing, or at least ish, right? But we're not going to have an overwhelming need to power up in the backswing. What do I mean by that? Well, if we don't need to power up in the backswing, I can stay very centered through the early stages of my backswing or backstroke, right? There's no need to get shifted into my trail leg for extra power, which we're definitely going to look to do for like a driver and longer, fuller swings in general, right? But for these shorter range approach shots, we can stay quite centered. And then through the second half of the backswing, we're looking to recenter a bit. I'm sure, I mean, if I talk about like how to use your legs in the swing, I have a video, if you search in the older videos on my channel, how to use your legs in the swing. And I guarantee there's a bunch of different videos now that I've covered this. But we now know, and I've learned this from a lot of other golfers as well. This is not my discovery. A lot of great pros and other content creators online have discussed this as well. Recentering through the second half, we'll say, of your backswing. So you absolutely, in a really full swing, want weight moving away from the target as you move in the early stages of the backswing for this, again, for like to tap into our fullest ranges of power. We're going to shift away from the target, and then we're going to come back towards it. So that's that recentering we're looking to do through the second half of the backswing, okay? So again, the designation I'm making here is for the kind of shorter wedges, we can just kind of stay centered, then go forward and up. And then our biggest swings, we're going to start here, get a little bit more of this pressure getting into our trail side, because again, you're just looking for more power there, right? So pressure into the trail side, and then by the time our club gets to about maybe halfway back or so, the way I think of it is when the club starts moving back at the target, we start moving back at the target. But again, what's nice is we can still create this forward and up movement through the downswing, we'll call it through the transition and downswing, to create really powerful, clean contact on the ball, right? So if you look at it, I'm going to put the club across my shoulders. When I shift and turn, right? So again, for a shorter range approach shot, I'm just going to stay centered. Again, but if I stay centered and turn, the left side of my body, my lead side, is underneath my trail side. So as soon as I start moving forward at all, there's going to be a forward and down kind of portion to this. You can see my left knee flexed here. Once that left knee that's flexed gets over that left toe, that's when I like to feel the up, right? And we're going to just kind of push into that extension. So whether you're going to stay centered for a shorter full swing, or you're going to drift away from the target for more power in a bigger full swing, either way, we want to feel in transition, we're going to start drifting back towards the target, maybe a little bit down, and then boom, we're going to push up. That up's going to create the ground reaction forces we're looking for more power. But then just from a general contact perspective, a lot, this is the Joe Mayo, the TrackMan Meister I talked about earlier. It's from him that I kind of started to appreciate. We've told all these people to hit down, 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 when in actuality, the handle of the club and many parts of your body are working more up through impact. So there's a kind of a balancing act and a system of checks and balances there to help keep us, nicely in the middle. So let me just try one here. It's going to be my first full swing of the day. We're going to get a little bit into the right leg in the backswing, but then really trying to feel that forward and up through the downswing to create the clean contact we're looking for. Let's try it. I'll tell you what, for the first swing, that felt pretty good. Okay, so whether you're taking the shortest of chips or the biggest of full swings, we absolutely want to feel this kind of forward and up nature to our downswing follow through. I should say transition, downswing, and follow through. Again, when in doubt, just focus on the finish. Think about that PGA Tour logo. Hopefully this helps. I know I'm going to be sending this link to a lot of students in the future. Always here for your questions in the comments. See you next time.